Hey folks, wanted to do a video today about a horse's nervous system. Okay, it's actually a really fascinating study with horses because they run kind of a dual system within their bodies, and this is why they are so phenomenal at therapy work with human beings, because the duality in a horse, they have something called a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is what is known as fight or flight, okay? Meaning if they're hit with a situation, they are either going to fight it, like kicking, striking, biting, or they are just going to run away. The other component of that is the parasympathetic nervous system, and that basically consists of the rest and digest system. So what that means is, instead of fight or flight with the sympathetic, where they just take off or they're fighting you, they are going to rest and digest, which means they're going to remain calm, and they are going to digest what you are trying to show them or what is happening around them in their environment. For instance, you know, if the tractor pulled in here right now and you had some horses who were not accustomed to it or not desensitized to it, they might opt to utilize their sympathetic nervous system and choose fight or flight. Meaning that most of them, if they saw the big, tractor coming in here, they would take off running. That is called flight. But if they were utilizing their parasympathetic nervous system, hi Cutter, then they might just hang around like him. And they might look at the tractor entering the little paddock area here. They might just kind of stand there and watch it. They might be a little concerned, but they would process it. They would rest and digest. So more digest than rest in that instance. I would think that a typical lookout for that would be their head would be up, their ears would be forward, they would be watching the machinery as it came into their environment, but not necessarily trying to fight it, like kick it or anything like that, and certainly not running away. They would be rest and digest. So how is this how does this relate to human beings and therapy? Well, it's really, really fascinating with these guys because working with a horse in equine assisted therapy can actually get you far more, let me not say more. I'm going to back up on that. I don't want to offend every, therapist out there. But you can get different results when utilizing a horse in a therapy session, because a horse, they're mirrors to us, okay, to human beings. So if someone really wants to come in here and really wants to connect with this horse, but yet they're coming in here and they're all jacked up and they're scared and they're nervous and, they don't know how to behave around the horse, well, then guess what? The horse is going to pick up on that, okay? So they are going to react to whatever that human being is putting out. And if that's a bunch of nervousness and skittishness, then that horse could very well exhibit that anxiety as well. So what happens with a lot of people in equine therapy is they so badly want to bond with the horse. Okay, they want to be able to get up close and touch the horse. They want to, they want to pet the horse. They want to praise the horse. But here's the beauty of a horse. They are not going to really allow a human being in that close to them in this type of a relaxed state if that human being cannot regulate their own emotions, okay? So if somebody comes in here and they're freaking out and they're jumpy and they're screaming and they're, just full of anxiety, and they come up to a horse like Cutter here, who right now is just so relaxed. I mean, his ears are nice and just kind of relaxed, and his head is down, and he would not be acting like this at all if I came in here all jacked up and like totally worried. If I were worried, he would be worried. So what happens with people who really want to connect with the horse is they have to, let's say someone comes in here and they're suffering from massive anxiety, okay? They have to figure out how to still their body enough to allow that horse, to have that horse allow them to come in and pet them and show affection to them and brush them and groom them. And trust me, I've seen this with my own eyes, folks. I'm not making this up. I have seen people who are very, very, very afraid of horses And those listening, you know who you are. I'm not going to mention any names. But I have seen people terrified of horses come in here and really have to get control of their bodies and think about their awareness and their breathing and how they are reflecting to this animal. Okay. And then they have to figure out very quickly how to get control of what is going on within their body and their central nervous system. So therefore, they're making the shift far faster than they would in some cases and in some examples, like sitting in a therapist's office and having the therapist tell you, oh, take deep breaths, or visualize yourself in a meadow or something peaceful or whatever. And, you know, struggle as they may, they just can't achieve that level of calmness. They can't overcome that anxiety. But when they come in here with these guys, their minds are completely focused on connecting with this animal, and their mind isn't on, oh, you know, whatever it is that they came in and they were so upset about. They're really, it's like a shift in your mindset, and they then become focused on this partner here. Okay, because these guys are your partners. Like when you're doing therapy sessions with them, they very much become your partners. Hi, Wyatt. And you know, you're more focused on them at the time because you're trying to develop a relationship with them and a symbiosis with them. So you're not really focusing so much on your nerves and what's affecting you. You're focusing more on how to get close to that, you know, that animal that you want to touch or pet. So horses are beautiful teachers. Again, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is fight or flight, and then the parasympathetic is rest and digest. Ideally, we can all get to the rest and digest in our lives and with these horses. And what I have noticed is lots of times horses just make that a much speedier process. So if you learned anything on this video, folks, and you think it might help somebody else, or even if you just want to help this channel, if you could bookmark, comment, you know, give it a heart, give it a thumbs up. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, so this is a great example. A gunshot just went off. I don't know if you guys heard that, but, well, I'm sure you heard it because we all jumped. But you see how good this group of horses is? Nobody freaked out. Nobody took off running. They did jump, but like Cutter is calmly walking. You know, they're not freaking out. And that's a great example. Actually, my nervous system just went off right there. I mean, I was getting ready to duck, you know, but we have neighbors over there who, they shoot guns all the time. Now, Shakespeare's going to run down there and check it out, and True's going to follow him. But this is not out of fear, folks. That's what Shakespeare does. Shakespeare is one of our lead horses. So he's going to go and make sure that everything is okay for everybody else. So they're all going to kind of go check everything out. Wyatt is going down there right now. They know where the gunshot came from. So Wyatt was the closest down there, but now the rest of them are going to investigate. That is not a fight or flight. That is a rest and wait a second, where's he going right now? Okay, I just wanted to see, I'm missing a whole, oh, okay, there's Whiskey. Yeah. Alright, so they're all just going to go down there and they're investigating, they're curious, they're taking it all in. So that's a great example of how horses can react to a scary situation. And no, I certainly did not plan that. That was a big shotgun shot. That was quite loud. I know the wind is really bad today, so I'm going to cut off of here. But anyway, you know, like, share, comment, bookmark, help us out. And, you know, feel free to leave your comments below and let me know what you thought of this video. Thanks so much.